Hi guys and welcome back to SwitchUp. A huge thank you to our first 2 Patreons. It helps us so much to have people support us as we create the channel. We both have full-time jobs, so we cram in as much as we can for you guys. If you want to support us, here's the link. Otherwise, your support in the comments section is also so much appreciated. Much love from Glen and I. Now, I wish I could say that the protagonist in Party Hard makes no sense to me. Unfortunately, I know only too well how infuriating a party in your street can be. That bass sound that seems to come from all directions, the obligatory group who decide to congregate outside your house, all stick thin but tanked up enough to feel like superheroes. Don't get me wrong, I want them to enjoy themselves. Sure, just do it in your house with the doors shut, preferably a few hundred miles from mine. This is not a game for kids, so any under 18s run along now, it's time for bed. Everyone else, it's time to party hard. Or is it? Let's find out. The story goes like this. You play as a guy who is at the edge of sanity. It's 3 AM and his neighbours are once again enjoying the benefits of a cheap high wattage sound system and enough cheap booze to sink a small ship. Unfortunately, enough is enough, and rather than simply knock at the door and ask politely for them to stop, or call the police and beg them for help, he thinks a better solution is mass homicide. Using a range of different methods. Probably not the wisest response to the situation, but one which even Agent 47 shares a certain affinity in both response and execution. Ooh, that wasn't a pun, but yeah, I'll take that one. I'll definitely take it. Between missions, cutscenes vaguely flesh out the general let's travel across the country and do the same thing at several different locations story. It's tongue-in-cheek and not meant to win any awards, which is good because it probably won't. Story scores 10 out of 20. Spanning 19 levels filled with revelers of all shapes and sizes living their best lives, you are dropped outside the party with a very unique set of skills. A pointy thing, and the ability to trigger several events to upset partygoers, poison the punch, or push a guy into a fire pit, or accidentally spill some fuel on the ground, call the DEA, or lean carefully against a tree. The whole game can be played alone or with a friend, but definitely was more fun with another person. You must stealthily eradicate everyone at the party through the above methods and more. A counter keeps you up to speed on your progress, and as the party goes on, things develop which can often be outside of your control. The aforementioned DEA may raid the party, or worse still, you might get raided by SWAT, who will hunt you relentlessly and are a real pain in the arse. If you are seen extinguishing the flame of someone else's existence, that person will run to call the cops. This can be a bloody nuisance, as it is very tricky to not get caught in this situation. While not impossible, it can be very frustrating, as the game sometimes randomly just exposes you as the killer despite nobody actually seeing you, as indicated by these handcuffs. You can partly cheese the cops by going up and down ladders or in and out of the building, but then Mario himself will rock up and block off that exit. You also can't fight the law, they just arrest you on sight. Gets a little annoying. You can, however, phone a variety of random people to come and aid you in your heroic quest to rid the world of noise-polluting partygoers. These are random but can include exterminators who will fumigate a room with unfortunate consequences for those inside. or a bodyguard who can follow you about and will mess up a cop if they're after you. We found that while the events you can call in or trigger are interesting enough in and of themselves, what inevitably happens is you use these up first, leaving you to painstakingly remove the remaining people with your knife, which just isn't nearly as fun. This can lead to you losing focus and rushing to finish the level, invariably and more often than not, ending up with you getting caught or killed. Now, when you do die, you restart the level from scratch and the rooms of the stage and things within it are shuffled and changed, which is a good thing, as it means no two playthroughs feel exactly the same. At this stage, the game's quite buggy. I completed a level only to have the game hang at the score screen. The police, fire truck and ambulance bugged out and wouldn't leave. I could just walk around killing everyone without any repercussions, but I couldn't actually reach the last people as the bugged police car would kill me as soon as I touched it. These bugs weren't few and far between for me. Something bugged about 20% of the time on the first stage. Now, to be fair, the second was absolutely fine. It's certainly worth noting. At its best, Party Hard is a really fun game, but there are too many quirks and bugs that cause needless irritation, whether it's the AI just randomly realising you're the killer, the game bugging out, or a lack of default extermination methods. When it's working, and with a friend, it can be really enjoyable. Creating accidental deaths has always felt good in Hitman, and there's no doubt it's fun here, as Glen stormed across the map like a hooligan, setting off explosions, triggering extinguishers, and generally causing accidental carnage while I slowly surveyed the scene, took out those on the periphery, and attempted to hide the bodies before I made my next move, and 9 times out of 10 I died horribly and had to watch him complete the entire level without me. We each have our skill set. I'm the comedy relief. Gameplay scores 13 out of 20, which would be higher if they could iron out the bugs and irritating random discoveries. The random events, which I won't spoil, are also really cool. Controls are decent enough and never feel restrictive. They score 15 out of 20. They could just have used a few more options for attacks, etc. I really like the visuals on display here. It reminds me a little of Hotline Miami visually, but these two games are worlds apart. There are over 19 levels and there is a great deal of detail to them, despite the pixel art graphics. Couples will walk off to make hearts happen. Swimmers will take a dip. Waiters will wait. And a creepy clown will sneak one too many dodgy glances at someone and get himself killed. I really like the aesthetic of Party Hard. It's probably one of the stronger aspects of the title for me. Bright and colourful with a ton of character. I like the little text boxes as you're slated for your dance moves, or people discover something they probably didn't want to see. The audio is fantastic for about 27 seconds until it loops. Another 20 seconds later and it was turned down low, and the sound effects remained. These were solid and served to create the party atmosphere, and the inevitable replacement of musical riffs with murderous deaths is accompanied with appropriate hysteria. The music is nice from level to level, but like I say, repetition is something that you just have to do in this game. And when the music loop is this small and the level of repetition high, then inevitably music drops, in your opinion, rather quickly. Visuals and audio score a combined 14 out of 20. The game retails at $14.99 or €14.99 or £13.49. There are 19 large open plan levels to complete that have several randomised events. You can play cooperatively with a friend on one Switch or alone and unlock several different playable characters which have their own unique skills. For fans of stealth, there is quite a bit here, it just needs a little polishing with a patch or two. You'll definitely get a good number of hours of play though. The game is tough and frustrating in equal measure, but can feel very rewarding at times. Value scores 14 out of 20. Now, despite an interesting premise, the game's let down by some bugs and frustration caused by seemingly unfair losses. It is fun and I would definitely still recommend it on sale, particularly for fans of cooperative play. It scores a final SwitchUp score of 66%. Many thanks for watching and to TinyBuild for the review copy. For all things Switch all the time, you know what's coming, keep it SwitchUp. Cheers guys, see ya!